Welcome back to All Things Soggy Buns. We've got a really tasty deep dive lined up today.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to be talking about smoked chili.
I love chili.
Me too. And for anyone who doesn't know, Soggy Buns is a Maryland-based food truck and catering company.
Awesome.
And they make some pretty incredible food. So
Sounds delicious.
yeah, it is. We're going to be looking at this recipe by Toby and
Voila.
Ola, that's right, on how to make smoked chili.
Excellent, excellent.
And what's really cool is that they have not one, but two methods.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, for making smoked chili.
I'm intrigued.
So we've got the traditional method, and then we have what they call the over-the-top method.
Okay, traditional versus over the top. What's the difference?
Yeah, so with the traditional method, you cook the meat separately, usually like right on the grill grates, while you're simmering the vegetables in a Dutch oven.
All right, so you get that nice smoky flavor infused in both?
Exactly.
Okay.
And then the over-the-top method is where you make like a big patty of seasoned ground meat, and you cook it like on a rack above the Dutch oven.
Interesting.
So all the drippings and the smoky flavors like drip down into the chili.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, they say it makes it like a richer and more deeply flavored chili. So we're going to dig into all of that.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Okay, so let's talk first about ingredients.
All right, let's break it down.
Yeah, because obviously ingredients are super important.
Absolutely.
So for the meat, they recommend using a mix of ground beef and ground sausage.
Makes sense. Classic chili combo.
Yeah, and they specifically say to use like 80-20 or 85-15 ground beef.
So a decent amount of fat in there.
Yes.
Yeah, that's important for flavor and moisture.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, what about the sausage? Any specific type?
They recommend hot sausage, but you can definitely use whatever you want.
So you can customize the heat level right from the start.
Exactly.
I like that flexibility.
Yeah, and in total, you're going to use about 3 pounds of ground meat. But again, you can adjust that to your preference.
Makes sense. Bigger batch, more meat.
Yeah.
Now, what about the seasoning? I'm always curious about the spice blends in chili recipes.
Yeah, so they actually recommend making your own seasoning blend.
Oh, interesting. So ditch the pre-made packet.
Yeah, ditch those packets, and it's actually really simple.
Okay, I'm all for simple.
So you'll need chili powder, garlic powder, smoked paprika, cumin, red pepper flakes, onion powder, chipotle powder, salt, and pepper.
Wow, that's a pretty comprehensive blend. Hits all the classic chili notes.
Yeah, and what's interesting is they divide the chili powder, garlic powder, and smoked paprika.
Divided, what do they do with that?
Yeah, so you use some of it to season the meat directly, and then you add the rest later when it's simmering.
Oh, that's a clever trick. So you get those flavors infused in the meat itself, and then another layer of complexity in the overall chili.
Exactly.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and they also mention cayenne pepper as an optional ingredient if you want to add more heat.
Of course, gotta have that option for the heat seekers.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so we've got our meat, we've got our spices. What else goes into this delicious chili?
Well, we need some veggies, right?
Of course, can't forget the
So
veggies.
you'll need some diced onion and bell peppers.
Classic chili base.
Yeah, they add sweetness and some texture.
And they're essential for building that deep savory flavor as they cook down.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, what else?
We need tomatoes, so tomato paste and canned diced tomatoes.
Ah, the dynamic duo of tomato flavor. What's the reasoning behind using both?
Yeah, so the tomato paste is like a concentrated flavor bomb.
Okay, it intensifies that tomato goodness.
Yeah, and it also helps to thicken the chili.
Right, gives it that nice hearty consistency.
And then the diced tomatoes add a bit of freshness and texture.
So you get a more well-rounded tomato profile overall.
Exactly.
Smart.
Yeah, and then to bring everything together, we have beef broth and a chicken bouillon cube.
Interesting. Chicken bouillon in a beef chili. I wouldn't have thought of that.
Yeah, it might seem a little strange, but it adds a lot of depth of flavor.
Oh, okay. So it's like a secret ingredient for extra savory goodness.
Exactly.
I'm always up for secret ingredients.
Yeah, it's like a little umami boost.
I like it.
Now, this recipe is actually written for a no-bean chili.
Oh, no beans. That might be controversial for some chili lovers.
I know, right? But they do give suggestions for adding beans if you want.
Oh, okay, good, good. So bean lovers are still welcome.
Yes, absolutely.
What kind of beans do they recommend?
They recommend Instant Pot, black beans, kidney beans, or pinto beans.
Ah, the Instant Pot, a true time saver. I love using mine for beans.
Yeah, it makes it super easy.
Okay, so we've got all our ingredients prepped and ready to go. Now let's talk about the smoking process itself.
Yes, let's get smoky.
All right, what kind of setup do we need?
Well, the good news is that you can use pretty much any type of grill or smoker.
That's great. So it's accessible to everyone, whether they have a gas grill, charcoal, or even a pellet smoker.
Exactly.
Accessibility is key.
Yeah, so if you have a gas grill, you'll want to use a smoker box with wood chips or chunks.
And you can control the amount of smokiness you want by how much wood you use.
Exactly.
Okay, what about charcoal grills?
For charcoal, you'll just put the wood chunks directly on the hot coals.
Classic charcoal smoking technique.
And for pellet smokers, you just follow the manufacturer's instructions.
Those are pretty user-friendly when it comes to smoking.
Yes, they are.
Okay, so we've got our smoker ready to go. What about the wood itself? Any recommendations for the best type of wood to use?
Yeah, they recommend oak or hickory for a bolder, smoky flavor.
Solid choices. Those are known for their strong smoke profiles.
And if you want something a little milder, they suggest cherry, apple, or pecan.
Oh, those fruit woods add a nice subtle sweetness to the smoke.
Yeah, it's all about personal preference.
Absolutely. Finding that perfect smoke flavor that speaks to you.
Okay, so are you ready to walk through the steps?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay, so the first step, regardless of which method you're using, is to season the meat.
All right, back to our spice blend.
Yeah, so you're going to take some of the chili powder, garlic powder, and smoked paprika and mix it into the meat.
Just a portion of those. Remember, we're saving some for later.
That's right.
And gently mix it in. Don't want to overwork the meat.
Exactly.
Okay, what's...
Then you're going to form the meat into patties.
So individual patties for the traditional method, and one big patty or several smaller ones for the over-the-top method.
That's right.
Got it.
Okay, now we're ready to start cooking.
All right, fire up those grills.
So you'll preheat your grill or smoker to about 250 to 275 degrees Fahrenheit.
Nice and low, slow cooking for that smoky goodness.
Yeah, and then you'll cook the meat patties until they reach an internal temperature of 140 to 150 degrees Fahrenheit.
And a meat thermometer is key here to ensure the meat is cooked to the right temperature.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so while the meat's cooking, what's happening with the vegetables?
All right, so here's where the methods diverge a bit.
The crossroads of traditional and over-the-top.
Yeah, so for the traditional method, while the meat's grilling, you're going to saute the diced onion and bell peppers in your Dutch oven on the grill.
So they're getting a head start and soaking up some of that smoky goodness right alongside the meat.
Exactly.
Okay, and what about the over-the-top method? Where do those veggies go?
Okay, so for over the top, this is where it gets really interesting.
I'm all ears.
You're actually going to put the seasoned meat patty on a rack above the Dutch oven.
Oh, I see. So the Dutch oven acts as a catch-all for all those delicious drippings.
Exactly, and those drippings are going to be flavoring the chili as it cooks.
That's brilliant. It's like a self-basting system infused with smoke.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So are the vegetables already in the Dutch oven at this point?
Yeah, you can put them in there along with any other ingredients you want to get infused with those smoky, meaty flavors.
Wow, so it's like a slow-motion flavor explosion happening right in that Dutch oven.
Exactly.
Love it.
Okay, so once the meat reaches 140 to 150 degrees, it's time to bring everything together.
Time to combine all those smoky, savory elements.
Yeah, so for both methods, you'll transfer the cooked meat to the Dutch oven.
And break it up into nice crumbles.
Yep, and then you'll add the rest of the spices, the tomato paste, diced tomatoes, beef broth, and the bouillon cube.
And if we're adding beans, now's the time, right?
Yes, if you're adding beans, you would add them now.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so now we're ready for the final step, which is the long, smoky simmer.
Ah, the patient part of the process, where all those flavors meld and deepen.
Yeah, so you'll let the chili simmer in the smoker for up to 3 hours, stirring occasionally.
The longer it simmers, the more intense that smoky flavor will become.
Exactly, and it also gives all those flavors time to really come together.
And tenderize the meat even further.
Yep.
Okay, so after 3 hours of smoky simmering bliss, what's next?
Now it's time to taste and adjust the seasoning.
Always important to taste and fine-tune those flavors.
Yeah, you might need to add a little more salt or pepper just to get it perfect.
Makes sense.
And then, finally, it's time to serve it up.
With all the toppings?
Yes, with all the toppings.
Okay, so what kind of toppings are we talking about here?
Well, they give a ton of suggestions.
Lay it on me.
Okay, so we've got the classics like sour cream and shredded cheese.
Can't go wrong with those.
And then they also suggest things like pickled red onions,
Oh, I love pickled onions. They add a nice tangy crunch.
pickled peppers, cilantro, Fritos.
Fritos, now that's a topping I can get behind.
I know, right? It's so good.
What else?
Avocado slices, lime wedges, hot sauce, basically anything you can think of.
This is a choose-your-own-adventure chili topping situation.
Exactly. It's all about personalizing it to your taste.
I love that.
Yeah, and they also give some great side dish suggestions.
Like what?
So we have cornbread, garlic bread, a green salad,
All the classics, perfect complements to a hearty chili.
and they even suggest smoky baked beans.
Double down on the smoke, I like it.
Yeah, it's a really nice pairing.
So we've got our toppings, our sides. What about variations on the chili itself? Can we switch things up a bit?
Oh yeah, they give some really cool variations.
Like what? Tell me more.
So they have a venison chili.
Oh, interesting. For the game meat lovers out there.
Yeah, but they do say to be careful because venison is a lot leaner than beef.
Makes sense. You might need to adjust the cooking time or add some extra fat to keep it moist.
Yeah, for sure.
What other variations do they have?
They have a chorizo chili,
Oh, spicy and flavorful. I bet that's delicious.
a ground chicken chili, which is a lighter option.
Nice. A good alternative for those who prefer chico.
And then they have a brisket chili, which uses leftover smoked brisket.
Oh, that sounds incredible. Smoky brisket and chili. Sign me up.
I know, right? It's amazing.
And you know what's great about chili is that you can really get creative with the leftovers.
Oh yeah. Like what?
They suggest adding diced smoked kielbasa or sausage to the chili.
Oh, that's a great idea.
It's a fantastic way to add another layer of flavor and texture.
Yeah, and it's a good way to use up any leftovers you might have.
Absolutely nothing goes to...
So if you're in Maryland and you're craving some amazing smoked chili, you have to check out Soggy Buns.
Yeah, they sound like they know their way around a smoker.
They do. Their food is incredible, and you can find them online at soggybuns.com. Definitely check them out.
I'm definitely going to have to add that to my list of places to try.
Okay, so as we wrap up this smoky deep dive, what are some of the key takeaways for our listeners?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that you can make incredible smoked chili at home.
Yeah, it's not as intimidating as it might seem.
Exactly, and you have the freedom to choose the method that works best for you.
Traditional or over the top.
Exactly.
And the other key takeaway is the importance of good quality ingredients.
Absolutely, starting with the right meat, using a flavorful homemade spice blend, and choosing the right wood for smoking.
Yeah, all of that contributes to the final flavor.
It's like a symphony of flavors all coming together to create something truly special.
I love that analogy.
And I think it's also important to remember that chili is a very personal dish.
Oh yeah, everyone has their own preferences.
Exactly, so don't be afraid to experiment with different ingredients and toppings to find what you love.
That's what makes cooking fun.
Exactly. It's all about exploring and creating something that brings you joy.
So as we come to the end of our deep dive, what's one thing that really stands out to you about this recipe?
You know, for me, it's the idea of those smoky meat drippings in the over-the-top method.
Oh yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's just such a clever way to infuse the chili with flavor.
Yeah, it really takes it to another level.
And I also love how adaptable this recipe is.
Oh yeah, you can customize it in so many ways.
Exactly. You can change up the meat, the beans, the toppings, the side dishes. It's endless.
So this deep dive has been all about the magic of smoke and how it can transform a classic dish like chili.
It's really amazing how such a simple element can add so much depth and complexity to food.
Yeah, it's a testament to the power of cooking with fire.
Absolutely. There's just something primal and satisfying about it.
And if you're inspired to create your own smoky culinary masterpieces, be sure to visit soggybuns.com. You'll find all sorts of delicious inspiration there.
And maybe even try some of Soggy Buns' incredible food if you're in the Maryland area.
Yeah, they're definitely worth checking out.
For sure.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this smoky adventure.
It's been a pleasure, as always.
And thank you for listening to the All Things Soggy Buns podcast.